West Africa is becoming the new battlefront for sea crimes as the eastern part of Africa gradually comes under control. Now, this is according to consensus at the just concluded annual Maritime and Coastal Security Africa conference held in Cape Town, South Africa. Now, for more on what West Africa needs to do to curb these crimes, I'm joined from our Joburg studios now by Okit van der Schuyf. He is the Vice President Marketing at SAB Griptex Defense. It's great to have you on the show with us. It'll be good for you to start by telling us a little bit more about your company's plans for West Africa.
Hello, Didi. Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. SAB has got a very rich and wide product and solutions offering, mostly in the defense and security domain, and specifically also in the naval and maritime domain. Currently, we are setting up to enter the West African market. We don't really have a lot of solutions in place as we speak, but we are definitely involved in a very serious attempt to break into the West African market. And we believe we can really offer the naval forces in the region and the security organizations very good technical solutions for the very complex problems that are being faced these days.
What are some of the key areas of concern in West Africa?
I think if we look at the maritime naval domain, it is the typical problems that first manifested on the east coast of Africa, the most topical one being piracy and hijacking of ships on the high seas, the theft of oil, the plundering of fish resources, smuggling, human trafficking. There are many challenges these days in terms of security and defense-related issues. So from that perspective, we can, although we do not provide naval platforms per se, we can offer the total solution that goes onto the vessels in terms of sensors, weapon systems, etc. So we can also provide solutions for harbor and port security, both on the landward side and on the seaward side. We can provide resources for aerial surveillance and everything that goes with that, whether it be manned or unmanned vessels or craft, we can provide that. And I think what is very important is that we can integrate all these systems into a solution at a higher level. Because, you know, if you've got a vessel, a ship in its own is not worth much unless you integrate it into your higher strategy and operational doctrine and philosophy of work. So we can provide the higher level command and control systems to integrate all these capabilities into a higher order capability and support the user through life in keeping this capability going.
But what do you think our governments need to do, to obviously combat this threat?
Again, it's very difficult for any single government, in my opinion, to act on its own, because when you look at the ocean and the vast areas involved and the actors that are perpetrating these crimes, they are non-state actors. So it's very difficult for a single government to act on its own, and it needs a regional and an international approach to really solve the problem, as we've seen on the east coast of Africa. Their success only really started when there was a concerted effort by all the littoral countries involved, as well as the international community. So I do believe that the East African countries, and I believe they're already busy with that, setting up various agreements between the countries, agreeing on operational doctrine and rules of engagement. So I think they are already on the right track. Then obviously it also requires investment in the capabilities that you will have available to prevent these criminal acts from taking place, or if a criminal act has taken place, to react appropriately to that. So it doesn't really, in my opinion, only boil down to increasing your naval capability, but it involves looking at a wider capability, your naval capability, your coastal patrol, your fisheries, your foreign relations, etc. So a lot of government departments and agencies need to invest in expanding their capabilities.
What does this have? What impact does this have on the West African economy at large?
Sorry, just repeat the question.
Piracy, the threat that we're having in West Africa. What impact does that have on the West African? Excuse me, I'll take that again. On the West African economy, what impact does that have?
Obviously, you can imagine the loss in oil revenues for one thing, just to mention one thing. We know that plundering of fish resources have been going on all along the African coast for many, I would say even decades. So that represents a lot of income that could have gone to the various governments in the region, but which is now stolen by these criminals. And therefore, I think it has a major impact on the economy. The economy could obviously therefore grow even faster, although it's already growing at a reasonable rate. It could grow even much faster had all that income been directed to the government where it rightfully should go. So it also has a knock-on effect on your landlocked countries, because sometimes these acts of piracy and criminality prevents their imports and exports from coming in or going out as quickly as possible. Therefore, once again, it means financial loss to these governments. So I haven't got the exact facts and figures, but I know we're talking about billions of dollars, not hundreds of millions, but billions of dollars that's been lost over the last number of years.
Tell us a little bit more about your conference, the MCSA conference, especially what's been said about West Africa.
Well, we intend to offer very innovative, high technology solutions to make the efforts of these crime-fighting agencies much more effective. In other words, to make the navies of the region more effective, the coast guards, all the agencies that are involved, to ensure security of your harbors and ports, because once again, you have to make sure that you control access to harbors and ports where a lot of trade is taking place. So from the landward side, physical access, and it's a big challenge to secure the seaward side. But again, SAAB has got very interesting and innovative solutions for detecting vessels and even divers entering harbors and ports, and then giving the command and control system to respond appropriately once such a breach has been discovered. So our offering would be from sensors, which could be ground-based, which could be air sensors, unmanned and as well as manned aerial platforms, sensors and weapons on ships and vessels that can go into the sea, and then the ability to track all these resources, to see it on a situational awareness picture where you can see where all your own resources are, and where you can see where detected suspect vessels and other entities could be, and then to react in a coordinated and effective manner.